ones we went to the first time, they said, we don't think this is going to work. The second time they gave us some money to stabilize the building. So we got some money to get moving forward. And we hit some private foundations, not for a lot of money because nobody knows West Stockbridge, but these are local foundations or people that were members or whatever, so they gave us some money. But the biggest thing we got was we raised money from our members. Now, we're a town of 1,100, another 30% are second homeowners from Boston and New York who have more money, but we're not really very wealthy. But the community support, you were talking about getting community input, was absolutely key because there's, as Bill knows, there's a crowd that sits across the street at the public market and we've never driven a nail straight or done anything right, and this is never going to work, and this is terrible. And what we've done is we've raised our membership in our historical society is a little over 265 households out of a town of about 700 households. Yeah. We hit a chord that people like. We started life members, so I don't have to go after them for small money every time. We've got 85 of them right now. These are our biggest donors. All the local businesses contributed, and people come from all over. They're second homeowners, there's visitors, that people go to Tanglewood or Rockwell, they stop by. We beat them up for them. I mean, we ask them to join. And we have additional donors, people who are not members that have given us money. So the numbers are pretty impressive for a tiny town. Plus, we've linked with the other cultural partners, with the Mount, with Shakespeare and Company. So we trade, not names, but we'll have events. They'll use our space. So we're part of the community. And the one thing we did, once we took over this space, we went on the second floor, a bunch of us with screw guns, took out all the walls, the temporary walls that the town offices had been, and restored this auditorium. And that's where we found some of this stuff. Jimmy Vosberg, who was the building inspector, Jimmy was a pig, and his office was filled with crap. And when we cleared that out, all into the dumpster, we found an 1882 Civil War plaque out of brass that had been put up there. We found the posters and stuff. I mean, Jimmy had these treasures he didn't know about, and we didn't tell him. So what we did, the first time, some members of the Boston Symphony who have homes in West Stockbridge came to us and said, we'd like to do a benefit concert. We said, okay, how do you do that? So it was Memorial Day weekend, and we said, okay, come and use the space, we'll print some flyers and stuff. I had no idea if anybody was going to show up. What happened was our legal capacity is about 110 people. I invited the fire department, which was a good move because I stopped counting at 137. I had people sitting on windowsills outside, and I knew we had something going from an arts perspective. Since then, we've had 20 concerts with the chamber players, plus a whole bunch of other things. Community talks that we show old photographs and people. We've had authors, that's Simon Winchester, yeah, who lives nearby. We had actually tell his wife she couldn't come in because it was full of capacity. We've had folk concerts. We've had an art show. We just had the art show in August. We brought in over 1,000 people. In a town this small, we're regularly bringing in about 2,500 to 3,000 people every year into the town. They shop, they eat, they come to our space. And that's the whole purpose of this thing. We do community stuff. This is Halloween, which is great fun. But the other trick is we got the community involved in actually doing some work on the building. So we went to the local branch of Berkshire Bank and embarrassed them, saying, look, you're not giving us money, why don't you give us some labor? They wound up helping clear some of the vegetation and parking. So now, the bank people like us. They still don't give us money, but we got labor. We brought in a whole bunch of people from the community. And what we did is, in retrospect, was one of our smarter things, is we formed it with longtime local people who had 6 generations in West Stockbridge, as well as newcomers, as well as second residents, as well as second homeowners. So it's a mix of people. It's not just seen as one one group of, you know, rich New Yorkers or rich Bostonians. So this is kind of what it looks like now. Bill's going to go into all the hard parts, but it's become the centerpiece of the community. It's why we exist, and it's becoming more and more year round, except for when it's -10 outside. But we're slowly getting it along, and it's turning around the community. You can now get better beer. That's not much on the way to tackle it. As well as we have restaurants. When we started this project, we were the only performance space in town, the only place that had anything. We now have six performance spaces for readings. There's a theater group that's opened up. We have an outdoor sculpture park. We have a restored mill for reading. I mean, it's just become more of an art center the community has. It's not just us. So that makes me feel good. That part of it makes me feel good. When I look at all the stuff I gotta do and the money we gotta raise, I don't feel so good. But this part I feel good. So anyway, I'll turn it over to Bill. He'll tell you all the hard part.